Hi, my name is Isaiah. What I'm going to be reading for you today is Carrie Fisher's Leia Forever by Emily Pullman. So let's begin with chapter 1 called Daughter. Carrie Frances Fisher arrived in the world on October 21st, 1956. Her mother, Debbie Reynolds, was a beloved film star from Singing in the Rain. Her father, Eddie Fisher, was a successful pop singer. The family lived in a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, California. In true Hollywood fashion, Carrie's birth resembled a slapstick scene from a movie comedy, aided by anesthetic. Her mother slept through the labor. Meanwhile, her father fainted in the delivery room just as she arrived in the world. 2 hours later, a photographer from Life magazine snapped Carrie's first official photograph. On February 24th, 1958, Debbie and Eddie welcomed a second child in the family. They named him Todd. To the outside world, the Fishers seemed like a perfect family. However, the couple split a year after when Eddie divorced his wife to marry actress Elizabeth Taylor. Carrie was only 2 years when her parents' marriage ended. She and Todd remained with her mother in Beverly Hills home. As a child, Carrie thought that her mother was the most beautiful woman in the world. She often compared herself to her mom and thought she would never measure up to her looks. Carrie knew early on that she had famous parents. Whenever she went out with her mother on outing, fans always approached. Debbie asked for an autograph. Over time, the young sister resented sharing her room with everyone else. Due to her bustling career, Debbie wasn't home as much as most parents were. Sometimes a hard-working mother would come home, sleep for hours from exhaustion. Carrie and Todd often snuck into her bedroom and slept on the floor by her bed just to spend time with her mom. Although Carrie yearned for more companionship with her mother, it was still more time than she had with her dad. Sometimes the youngers caught a glimpse of her father on television, and she would study the screen intensely, memorizing his physical features just to closer to him. A lonely girl, Carrie spent many hours with her nose buried in a book. She sought refuge in fictional worlds that excited in classic literature. Stories comforted her because they almost endless happiness. She read so much her family nicknamed her the bookworm. Calling Carrie's childhood non-traditional would be an understatement. After all, the young girl and her brother grew up on the movie sets. Her birthday parties took place on MGM's backlot. In 1960, Debbie married a second time when she was a businessman, Harry Carroll. As it turned out, the owner of Carroll's shoe stores had a daughter named Tina, who was the name as Carrie. During her teenage years, Carrie attended Beverly Hills High School. Her classmates later described her as a lonely, unaffected, and down-to-earth. She even sang in the school choir. Carrie's mom always encouraged her to sing. Starting, she had a beautiful singing voice that moved her to tears. When the youngster was just 13 years old, she made her debut in her mother's nightclub at age 15. The teen impressed audiences with rich, powerful version of Bridge Over the Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Now, this is chapter 2, called Sooner. Carrie captured her first professional acting role at age 15. She appeared as a debuting and curious member in the Broadway musical Irene, starring her mother as the title character. The musical follows immigrant shop assistant who mingles with high society after a dame hires her to redecorate her home. After making her Broadway debut, Carrie moved to London to attend the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. The school offered her various degrees and courses in acting, speech, and musical theater, writing, and teaching. Its notable alumni was herself and Judi Dench. 17-year-old Carrie made her film debut in Shampoo. The mature comedy takes place in 25 period of the day after Richard Nixon's presidential election. Throughout the teenage, had a small role in a box office hit. She felt thrilled to work with Goldie Hawn, Warren Beatty, and Lee Grant. 2 years later, while on the winter break from school, Carrie simultaneously auditioned for 2 projects. Directors George Lucas and Brian D. Palmer were were casting their upcoming movies. Lucas was prepping a space adventure called Star Wars, and D. Palma was helming a horror movie entitled Carrie. Since both films sought a teenage girl, they held joint auditions. Every actress would audition for both movies. Carrie spent the first part of her trial acting with the director so they could get to know her. Afterwards, she went into a small room and read lines from each movie script while a cameraman videotaped her. The young actress felt more comfortable reading the Star Wars dialogue. Sure enough, the directors agreed. Carrie received the Star Wars script in the mail a few days later. George Lucas asked her to practice several scenes for a final reading. If he liked her, she would play Princess Leia, the rebellious teenager leading a revolution in space. Carrie rehearsed scenes with her good friend Miguel Ferrer until she felt confident about her performance. When the 19-year-old auditioned at the reading, she acted opposite a known actor named Harrison Ford. Apparently, she impressed Lucas because he offered her the role a week later. Chapter 3, Princess. Aside from Sir Alec Guinness, who signed to play an old Jedi named Obi-Wan Kenobi, Carrie's cast members were primarily unknown actors. Meanwhile, Harrison Ford, seen in George Lucas' early from American Fear, rounded out the main roster as Han Solo, a cocky mercenary. Star Wars film was primarily filmed in England. Upon arriving on set, Carrie worked with hairdresser Pat McDermott to create a unique look for Princess Leia. After trying 30 different designs, they selected a style with a coiled hair bun with each of the head. The look would become an iconic hairstyle. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker sets out to rescue Princess Leia, who's being held hostage by evil Darth Vader on the Imperial space station known as the Death Star. Along the way, the earnest young man meets Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and a cynical pilot, Han Solo, and he attempts to eliminate the evil Empire. Truthfully, no one involved in the movie knew if it would be a hit or not. Star Wars took nearly 15 weeks to film. When production shut down, Carrie returned home to Los Angeles, unaware that the movie she had just completed would become one of the most successful movies of all time. When Star Wars hosted its premiere months later, many expected the film to bomb. Carrie felt so nervous, she couldn't sit still during the showing. The anxious actress walked to the back of the theater and she didn't have to watch. Eventually, her brother Todd convinced her to return her seat by assuring her that the people loved it. To say Star Wars became a massive hit would be an understatement. The film was flat out blockbuster. Ticket lines were massively long. Retailers couldn't keep Star Wars toys off their shelves. Carrie graced countless magazine covers. She hosted Saturday Night Live and appeared on talk shows, attended Oscars, and Star Wars received a Best Picture nomination. The movie was an honorable success, and so was Carrie. She won many awards, Star Wars won many Academy Awards, like Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score. Now, let's begin on Chapter 4. In 1980, Carrie co-starred in a big screen comedy, The Blue Bloods, while reprising their Saturday Night roles. The film was a modest success, earning about $54 million in the box office. Later that year, Carrie starred in the eagerly anticipated Star Wars sequel, The Empire Strikes Back. The franchise's second installment, Princess Leia remains determined to bring down the Empire, but she also finds love with the rugged Han Solo. The sizzling chemistry between the princess and the scoundrel charmed audiences, and the duo quickly became one of the cinema's all-time favorite couples. The Empire Strikes Back marked down one of the rarest times when a movie sequel received greater praise than its predecessor. Audiences began to flock to the space saga featuring Luke, Leia, and Han, boosting the film to worldwide ticket sales that excelled over $450 million. The film's franchise sales were equally impressive. Carrie as a Princess Leia donned as an assortment of collector's items like lunchboxes, t-shirts, posters, dolls, mugs, and so on. On Halloween, it seemed like every female was dressed up as Leia in a Leia costume. In fact, 85 years after Empire's release, the Google poll determined that Princess of Alden was the most popular costume of 2016. 2 years later, Carrie flew to New York to appear in another Broadway show. The 24-year-old portrayed a Tyler character in the acclaimed drama Aims of God. On May 25th, 1983, Carrie returned to Aurora roots when the third film in the Star Wars trilogy, Return of the Jedi, opened with great fanfare. In the epic conclusion, the Jedi, Princess, and Smoga band brought down the evil Empire and defeating Darth Vader. Movie fans devoured the sequel. Return of the Jedi grossed more money than its predecessor and critics praised the film. It also received a Special Achievement Academy Award for visual effects. On August 23, 1983, Carrie married singer-songwriter Paul Simon, who had met on the Star Wars set and dated for several years. Although the marriage ultimately lasted under a year, they remained friends for a long time afterward. In fact, Carrie became so fond of Paul's son, Harper, from this previous marriage that she helped raise him for many years. With the end of Star Wars saga, many wondered what Carrie would do for an encore. Little did anyone realize her greatest talent had yet be undiscovered. Notable film and TV experiences were Star Wars The Last Jedi in 2017, Star Wars The Force Awakens 2015, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and The Burbs, and Hannah and Her Sisters. This concludes this part of the video. Thank you for watching. See you on the next part.